think we're talking about the Ed Sullivan Show. It was one of those things that there weren't so many actors that came out of television or movies that, you know, so maybe you'd get Richard Burton or Elizabeth Taylor on Broadway. And now it seems the thing to do that people, you know, they do a TV series and all of a sudden they go and do 3 months on Broadway, you know, which gives them a little bit more legitimate, you know, sort of viewing, you know. But I was also, you know, one of the things that, you know, Bye Bye Birdie, we're gonna be on Ed Sullivan, Ed Sullivan. You know, if you were on Ed Sullivan or you knew those kinds of people, you had a great agent or you had a good manager or you had all these kind of things going for you, it also propelled you. It didn't always say that you were great at doing it. It just meant that you got to surround yourself with good people. That's like on a television series. I'm not afraid on a stage when I go out and do my performing that, you know, I'd say to the musicians, you do whatever you want to do, just get out there, you can't upstage me, you know what I'm saying? So I feel that way, but I did the Ed Sullivan Show. We were doing Oliver, and we did a segment from Oliver on the Ed Sullivan Show. I think it was February 1964, and on the same show was the Beatles.
Oh, no.
That was I was 16 years old, and there were the Beatles, and I saw this. You know, when I came out the stage door, I'm sure you will both experienced it. You come out the stage door, there's a half a dozen, you know, people there, 12, 10 people, want your autograph, have seen you in the show, and that's great. And I thought, hey, this is it, you know, I've made it, you know. But when I saw this, I went, Sullivan Show, and all of a sudden the crowd's going, well, what he did, Brian Epstein, the manager, he replaced the audience that were all like insurance salesmen with their rides, you know, sitting there, all like not moving as if they were cold. And he replaced them with 14-year-old girls. So I'm figuring when I see all this going on, I said to myself, woo, I'd like a piece of that action. I'm 16 years old and I've got a hair on my chest. And so I observed that was happening, which changed my idea about what I was doing. I was getting out there and they were standing up at the end of the show and applauding and standing ovations every night, you know, when we did Oliver with Clark Revel and Georgia Brown and some, you know, some other notables, you know. Even actually, one of the people that played Fagin during that period that I was on Broadway was Barry Humphries, Dave Edith. He was the Undertaker at the time, but he was the understudy to Fagin. But when I saw that, I thought that's what I want to do. So within 6 weeks I was recording and things flow, you know. I mean, if you want them to, things happen. You know, you've got to get in the mix though, and you've got to really, you know, a lot of people stay and have their career in New York on Broadway, or, you know, I remember Shirley Jones, who was a friend, Jack Cassidy. I was hanging out at Birdland with Buddy Rich and Peggy Lee and Judy Garland. We used to go off on the Georgie was a dear friend of Judy Garland's. I saw Judy Garland go round the round door that goes into the Russian tea room 4 times before she found her way out. And I said, I want to be just like you. But it was an interesting process for me because I got lucky. You know, I told the kids at school I was going to do this and I was going to go there, and I came to America and I was on the West End Broadway, and then I got into the TV, the Monkees, and after that you were saying about those shows. Well, after the Monkees in 1969, we only did 2 years. Then they reran it. It was only 2 years on the air. And then all of a sudden I'm doing like the Tennessee Ernie Thanksgiving Day special, and I'm doing the Tom Jones show and things like that. And I'm thinking that. And then I was married and 2 children, and we moved out, and we moved to Santa Barbara, which was like 90 miles away. So everybody thinks, you know, I was on the witness protection program. Are you going out of show business? And now everybody's you don't have to live in Hollywood. You don't have to live in New York to be a New York actor, or to be on Broadway. You know, people find these places, and you just got to have ideas of where you want to go. And I've actually just finished with a friend of mine who was actually the Artful Dodger after me and Oliver in London. A friend who's been a friend for 45, almost 50 years. And Chris and I have written a musical. It's called The Call, and it's a traditional musical like Bye Bye Birdie, like the name. I saw West Side Story. I saw Dick Van Dyke in Bye Bye Birdie. I saw all these amazing people. And, you know, saying, you know, great comedic actress, you know, when I was on Broadway doing The Artful Dodger, talking like this, mate, how you going, it's nice. He said in one of the reviews that the next Danny Kaye, you you know. I don't really want to be the next anybody. I want to keep just being me, you know. It's sort of, I'm sure you've done some classic roles where you go out and I don't know whether, I'm not talking Hamlet, I'm not talking Shakespeare, or whatever it might be, but other actors have been there before you, and you always want to be able to bring something else to the part that you haven't, you can see it, you might have seen it. You know, I'd like to do cabaret. I'd like to do Stop the World, because I can sing those things now. So there's things that you've got to go after them though. I think you do. I mean, if you want them, you know, I mean, obviously you get the phone calls and, you know, here we are.